My name is Winnie Hughes. I belong to the American Women's Auxiliary here in Faribault, and we're having our Poppy event. And I really enjoy this event because it really gets out to the public. As they're coming into stores, we approach them or they come up to us. Children, it's great to get this word out about the Poppy. This is a great event for our veterans, and we use this money very wisely for the veterans in the nursing homes especially. They really like it. So thank you.
Okay, the reason I am in the American Legion Auxiliary is I had 5 brothers in the military. One was in Vietnam, and because they also drafted another one of my brothers at the same time, he had to go to Alaska because you could not have 2 brothers in the same war zone. So, but I did see my mom cry when some of those boys left. And I think sometimes she was happy when some of them left. No, not really. But it's a very hard time on a family. But I do remember they would have going away parties when they left and great parties when they came back. So, yeah, it was a experience watching them. And they grew from being in the military. They also have some scars from being in the military, but they're all great men now. I think it's time for me to pay back to my community and to these people that gave for our freedom. I mean, some of them gave physically, some of them gave mentally, and we really need to remember them and give back.
My name is Irene Eiler. I've been involved with poppies for the American Legion Auxiliary for about 25 years, but I go back farther than that. When I was a girl, maybe 8 years old, the person that was in charge was the judge's wife, and she would call our mother and ask if the headline kids could distribute poppies. So it's very dear to my heart. Been doing it for many years and was chair for about 20 years. And now stepping back, we've got such wonderful leadership in Winnie Hughes and Jeanette Hammond. So it's just good to be out here working on the Poppy Drive for our veterans projects. Thank you for helping.
Doing it because it supports the veterans. And I was in the military myself. I was in 23 years in the Army Reserve. I don't know, it's just something to get together with all these women and to do it.
To help the veterans, there's got to appreciate them for all the sacrifices they've made, and some of them the ultimate sacrifice, and the ones that remain, we want to honor them and carry on with the service to them and the community.
Well, I really enjoy belonging to the auxiliary, and I've often thought of my brother-in-law who was in World War II and a Navy person, and he always said that Harry Truman saved his life. And so you hear a lot of wonderful stories from those veterans, and it really makes you appreciate everything they've done. And so I'm very happy to be helpful in this Poppy project.
Well, both my husband and I belong to the American Legion Post and the Auxiliary for over 35 years. And I'm just really partial to veterans because I'm married to one. And we actually took 3 veterans on a trip to Washington, D.C. To see the World War II memorial. And that was really, really the highlight. And I don't know, I just have a soft place, I guess, for veterans.
I just became a new member because my father was in the World War II, and my mom was one of 6 sisters, and the 5 uncles were all in World War II. And my brother was also in the Naval Air Reserve. And with all this going on with Ukraine, it's just a great time for everybody to understand what these members of the service are doing for our country. So appreciate them.
I've been a member for a couple years, and my husband was in the Vietnam War, and he was stationed at Bellevue, Nebraska for 4 years at SAC headquarters, and just kind of the whole surroundings or the culture around the Vietnam War. So it's good support.
Because I like the serving for the veterans, and my dad was 4 years in the Army back during World War II, so I feel like I'm honoring him when I do it.
Okay, first of all, I'm Kathy Larson, and I already completed the first year of being the American Legion Auxiliary President, and I'm doing another year, so I'll have another year with the process. Our group here in Faribault, Unit 43, does so much for the community. We've done trips up to the cities, to the central area where we give a lot of donations and money and clothing, warm clothing for the homeless veterans. And we've been to the airport. They have a special wing there that's so fantastic. It's a secure area where the soldiers and their families can stay if they have to while they're being employed or coming through. And that was fantastic. We had a 2.5-hour tour of that. And it has accommodations for overnight sleeping. It has a huge kitchen. It has washer and dryer. It has meeting areas. So that was tremendous. The reason that I'm really feeling strongly about supporting this organization is that both of my parents, my mom and my dad, served in World War II. My dad went in and he spent 4 years in the Aleutian Islands. He was over 40 mechanics, and he said they had 2 enemies, the weather and the Japanese, of course. And he helped fix the P-38s. They came in on the ice and snow, no hangars, and so they really had quite a lot to do. And as each island was recaptured for the United States, they moved to Manchipka and the other ones. And then my mom was the one of 7 girls in the family with 8 kids. And she convinced a younger sister that the 2 of them needed to sign up because they wanted to do something for our country. And at that time, there was really a sense of patriotism and pride. And so the 2, my mom, Millie McGregor, good Irish lady, and her sister Teresa signed up. They were the first 2 women in North Dakota to sign up for the Women's Air Corps, which was nicknamed the WACs. And she served for 3.5 years and went to Georgia and went to other states. And then my dad came from the Aleutian Islands after 4 years, and my mom was transferred to Ephrata, Washington. And that's where they met. And they had a lot of commonalities, and they both, the same, poor, large families, same religion, same love dancing, just were such wonderful people. So they got married there at the base, and my dad always said that they had an international wedding because Moses, a Jewish man, was the man who gave my mom away. Her bridesmaid was Russian. The priest was French. My dad's groomsman was German. So it was just all nationality, and everyone got along. I mean, everyone was there for the same thing. So anyway, I have a very sense of pride there, and my parents were always very proud that they could represent the country. And then, of course, my husband, Dave, who's been gone now 7 years, was in the Air Force for 4 years, and he was stationed in Alaska for part of his term, too. But, and he also learned his profession there because he became a dental hygienist. And so anyway, it was very, important to him. He was very active here at the American Legion and in the Honor Guard. So I guess it's a family tradition to, keep supporting our military. And I think more than everything right now, it's very, very important. So I thank you so much for putting this on and letting people share it. So thank you again, Troy. All right.
So I just want to say thank you for keeping this tradition alive. Without good volunteers, traditions tend to die. Even in families, traditions tend to die. So I just want to thank you for giving up your time and doing this every year and coming down here and fluffing them. I heard they weren't too bad this year, so it went quick, and that's always helpful also. So, Office of the Mayor, City of Faribault Proclamation. Whereas the United States of America was founded upon the premise that all citizens should enjoy the blessings and freedom of liberty. Whereas the freedom and liberty that Americans enjoy, longed for by people around the world, are the direct result of many sacrifices made by Americans' veterans. Whereas many Minnesotans have made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of freedom. Whereas it is fitting and proper that we recognize the courageous efforts of our veterans who have sacrificed to secure freedom and liberty for all Americans. Whereas the American Legion Auxiliary, the Veteran of Foreign Wars Auxiliary, have adopted the poppy as their commemorative symbol. Whereas each year, disabled veterans assemble and distribute memorial poppies, creating a tangible tribute to honor our nation's fallen heroes and benefiting living veterans and their families. Now, therefore, I, Kevin F. Barachuk, Mayor of the City of Faribault, do hereby proclaim that the week of May 15th, 2023 as Poppy Week in Faribault.